Welcome, Kevin. How are you doing this morning?
Hello, Scott. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm having an absolutely wonderful day, and I'm excited to be here with you this morning. I'm really excited to hear more about your coaching program and the impact that you get to bring into this world. So, tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. I was born in Costa Rica. Right now, I live in Berlin. I relocated 5 years ago. Initially, I had an IT job, but life got in the way, and I've been through a lot of transformation these last few years, and I realized I had a big passion for coaching, and I've started my coaching business a year before, and now I'm building towards that. So I'm a coach for gay men, focus on topics like identity, purpose, authenticity, building an authentic life, and overcoming addictions. So they can live a life that has meaning, passion, and purpose.
Excellent, excellent. And you said that you moved to Berlin, and that's where you found your passion for coaching. Tell us what got you into the coaching. Was there somebody or something that occurred?
So I relocated to Munich first. That was in October 2019. And I was actually very sick for a long time. I I kind of knew like my body was off, and I didn't know what was really happening to me. And I had an IT job in Munich. I was going to the office Monday to Friday, and I was living in a constant state of stress and anxiety. And I was drinking so much alcohol to cope with my emotions. And on 2020, I had a message coming from one friend, and she told me like, "Hey, Santiago is dead." And I was like, "What?" So, like Santiago is my best friend, and I just find out in a message like Santiago is dead. And I had to sit with this feeling. I didn't know what happened at all. He was like my brother, my soulmate.
Mm.
And then eventually his ex-boyfriend texted me, and he told me that he died from AIDS. And I had no idea he was positive, and neither that he had died from AIDS. So I had this moment of I was like really in a big low, and I went to the doctor next week because I wanted to get tested because I was going through a lot of pain. I had an anal abscess, so it wasn't healing. So I'm like, okay, I don't know what's happening. This might be something terrible, so I'm just gonna go to the doctor while I'm grieving from my best friend. And then the doctor is telling me, I'm sorry, I'm not the best person to tell you this, but you're HIV positive. And I just gonna drop there. I'm in shock. And I literally I'm thinking like I'm gonna die. This is the end for me. I'm done. And then I'm going home, I'm crying my eyes out, and then I'm thinking like, no, this is not the end. Something has to come out of this. And I went to two surgeries. Then I started to take the medication for HIV, and I thought I was gonna die, but they explained to me, okay, there's this topic about undetectability. This pill will kill all the copies of the virus. You will have a healthy life. But I went to two surgeries because I had an anal abscess that wasn't healing, and it was such work that had to be done in this area that I had to go to two surgeries, and I was living with a drainage inside my anus for 9 months. And that was so challenging for me. Like I was really crying so much and showing up to work, showing my face of the engineer, but inside I was completely broken. I had no idea how to cope with my feelings, how to grieve. And I started to really go deep into personal development. I'm like, I have to get myself out of this mess. I have to really help myself. I have to do something out of this. And I worked with a life coach for 6 months. And I worked with him so close that I started to have a feeling like, oh, wow, I'm really understanding myself. I'm really understanding the pain, why I was drinking so much alcohol, why I was doing so much casual sex, why I was really escaping with drugs. And the core was like, I just didn't like my life. I was not living my purpose. I was living the life that my dad wanted for me. He wanted for me to be an engineer, to be successful. And I had all these degrees, a high paying job, but I was miserable. I was empty on the inside. And I would put this face of people to people, but inside I was suffering from so much loneliness. And as I started to do all this personal development of myself, I eventually got completely sober from alcohol. I haven't been drinking for 2 years and 2 months. And I started to really manifest consciously my life and go back to writing, which is something that I really love, and music. And yeah, I realized, oh wow, I always been a coach in me. And it just was just crystal clear. Like, I want to do this for a living. I want to help gay men. I want to help them to discover, for example, that there's a life after a positive diagnosis, that if they're going through an addiction, I understand what it feels to go through an addiction and understand what's the core of it and heal and build a life sober that you can enjoy and still be playful and be happy, and that it's absolutely fun to be sober and have a great life. So I really get reconnected with my identity, and now I know truly who I am, and I know what I'm here in this world, and I realize that everything that happened to me is because I can help other people to become the most authentic version of themselves.
That is absolutely beautiful. And thank you for your vulnerability to talk in such depth about the inner turmoil that you had been going through and the trials that you experienced. It's just it feels good to know that there's authentic and real people out there, and more so that you are out here to help others that may be experiencing similar situations. And I applaud you for that. So thank you.
Thank
You,
you so
Kevin.
much.
Of course. So you said that you then really knew that you were destined to be a coach, that your purpose in life was to be a coach. So when did you actually start the coaching? When, whether it was paid or unpaid, when did you start actually coaching others?
So I've been doing it this year, but as a test. So my coaching program, my high ticket program is created. I'm gonna do my first round of group coaching with other 4 gay men in November.
Excellent.
But for my second cohort next year, I plan to do it in February. I will start charging 25% of my initial price. So I started last year in June, baby steps. But this year in November, I will be going through my first group coaching call, and I have all the people already. And in exchange for testimonials, feedback, and referrals, and promotion on their socials, I'm gonna test this program. And my idea is to provide weekly videos of each module, 12 weeks. We do a group coaching call every week, and eventually I would refine the program. But my first
Excellent.
round is completely beta test. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. I love hearing that. So you decide that you're going to go ahead and start coaching. And as a coach myself and having coached many other coaches, we all run into this moment where, oh, it just got real. And you have this fear or these feelings that can come in. Anything for you like that?
Yeah, at the beginning, I was facing massive imposter syndrome. But then I had to realize I've been done this all my life for free. And it was completely natural for me. I remember so many people coming at me, telling me their deepest secrets. I was at a party sometimes, and people just had this kind of, I don't know, knowing. And he was like, for example, one guy telling me like, oh, I don't know why, but I'm going through a lot of stuff, and I feel like I need to vent out and get guidance from someone. And I listened to his story, and I gave him exactly what he needed, and he was like, oh,
Mhm.
thank you, I'm so grateful. But this started to happen really more magically over these last years here in Germany. And I realized it's just this normal insecurity because I'm pushing myself to something that is unknown to me. So of course these insecurities are gonna come up, but I know I got this. I know I can do this. and I love doing this. So I had to really work in my identity and just really feel like the coach I am, because this is who I am. This is my journey. And my story has helped me to really build so much more empathy. And I know sometimes I can just really channel the guidance that someone needs. And
Beautiful.
now is the difference is that I'm doing it now with a more professional, structured approach. So if ever something comes up, I just remind myself it's because I'm stretching. It's because this is something new that I need to grow upon, and I got this. So it's always a mindset of yes and.
That's excellent advice for anybody. Just continue your stretching and your growing. So wonderful, wonderful. Through those fears, you've overcome those, and then you start down this path that we've experienced it as coaches. Roadblocks pop up, things that are slowing you down. Fear can be one of those roadblocks. Did you experience anything else that might have set you aside and said, maybe I just stick with the IT career, good pay, it's what's expected of me? Where there are times where you're almost resigned to just go back to the old life?
So I had a moment in December where I was thinking like, okay, now it got real. This is really building a entrepreneur business from scratch. And so I had my own insecurities, but then I'm thinking like the cost of me of staying in this life that, like I said, my dad wanted for me is not worth it. Like living that life brought me to massive addiction, massive escapism. And I realized that was the core of my depression. So I realized, okay, it's gonna take some work. I'm gonna make it happen. And it's okay that it's gonna take some time, but I'm showing up consistently every week. So I'm building a structure around my IT job. And eventually I'm really ready to say goodbye. Now I'm having my clients. I can really focus on this full time. So I realized, yeah, getting really real with myself, like the cost of staying at doing a soul killing job is really not worth it. After being so close to dying, I realized I really want to leave a legacy. I want to really contribute to this world, to leave a better world for gay men who are depressed, who are suffering from traumas or addictions, because for so long I thought I was completely alone. I didn't know anything about my emotions. I was isolating, and I just had no idea how to cope with my emotions. And now that I do, I believe I'm really manifesting more consciously in my life. And it's like this divine synchronicities happening to me every day. So yeah, I've noticed like there's a lot of suffering in the gay community. And I realized, yeah, there's really a lot that I can do. There's a lot that I can contribute, especially in Berlin, where there's a lot of addiction among gay men. So I believe everything really aligned for me for this moment to show up and do what I can do, because it's really on point.
That's fantastic. That's wonderful. Uh, when when you got to the other side of these roadblocks, you're now resolute in the path that you're going to take. Uh, Obviously, there's changes. We can hear it in you just when you speak. I mean, you go from this the moment of where you're living in that past life to where you are today. What are the biggest changes you've seen within yourself?
So the biggest change is attitude, because now I'm doing this with love, because I understand the body. The body's like this beautiful machine that you can command. So I tell myself sometimes these commands and affirmations to really prime myself to do my job, and then I continue with my stuff. And it's really working for me. And before I was thinking very negatively about my job, and I was saying things that were negative. So when I was showing up to do the work, I was like, turn off. My body was drained already. So I'm really priming myself with good routines and being very productive in short amounts of time in my work. So the emotional charge of that and the energy charge of that doesn't affect me that much. So I'm waking up early. For example, I'm allocating 2 hours every morning. I work on my book, I work on the coaching, and then at night, a little bit of coaching. And I take some time for myself also to balance. And I believe this is working for me, but I have to really listen to my body, really listen to my intuition, so I don't go into a burnout, or I don't go into isolation or a workaholic tendency. So with this plan, I can ensure that I stay consistent and that I'm burned out. But I'm always listening to my body and being productive with the time that I can allocate quality time.
Excellent. Excellent. You mentioned that you have affirmations and routines that you work on. In that vein, often coaches and society as a whole, we have this voice that talks to us, this little voice that's chiming in our ear. And then we have the other voice that's chiming in our ear. When you have that voice, that self-talk, the negative self-talk, what are some of the things that you do to overcome that or to silence that voice?
So I do mindfulness practices. If I hear a voice of judgment voice, I just don't even go into a story. I usually take a deep breath, and then I kind of touch my hands. I do this movement with my fingers, so I stay very present in my body. And if there's a story or something coming up in my head, I just breathe on it, and I would say something like a mantra, Ho'oponopono, for example. I love you, I forgive you, thank you, and I'm sorry. So I use a lot of breathing, a lot of mindfulness, and I do understand that the voice of judgment is this is kind of a very tiny part that is going to be there, but I don't even feel this. I understand that that voice was there at the beginning for survival until you're 18 years old, but that's it. Now I get to choose who I am, and I'm manifesting the person that I am every day. So I really give myself more love, more forgiveness, more compassion. So I'm really clear in my mind.
Excellent. That's wonderful. And it's great advice, regardless of who you are, that self-talk, these are things that you can absolutely use no matter who you are to overcome that, to silence it, to even just minimize the voice and to hear the voice that is a true, authentic who you are. So wonderful. Thank you for sharing that, Kevin. It's refreshing. Let's talk about coaching as a whole. Coaching is not new. It's been around for a very long time. There are more people coming into coaching now than we've seen in history, essentially. You're relatively new. You got past the hurdles, the fears, and the self-talk and those pieces. What advice would you give to a coach who's stepping into this arena, this program, this business at this point in time?
I believe there's a place for everyone. Really, if it's in your heart, if it's in your soul, like a calling, do it no matter what, because you will always find a way. There are always opportunities. But if there's an insecurity and you focus on those insecurities, then eventually you will find excuses not to show up to the 100%. So I realize, yeah, when I say yes, when I show up and give my everything, the universe really contributes to make things happen, to make partnerships happen, to find gay men that would say, yes, I want to test your program. Hey, I have this friend who needs coaching. So I realized it's about really showing up, doing it, and consistency. When you fall off the wagon, forgive yourself. If you need some days, it's okay. It's absolutely okay to have some balance, and make sure that you come back. And in my case, what it really works is have a routine, a structure, and also allocate time for rest and not cut off any sleep, because this is a long game and you have to enjoy the game. So yeah, be very mindful, like it's on you. Like you have to be your best friend. You have to be very compassionate with yourself. And yeah, even though there are a lot of coaches right now at this point, it doesn't mean that it's not possible. Like I thought there were many great coaches out there, but turns out there's not that much, and still people really jump on you because of who you are. So I realized, yeah, people really get a feeling of who you are, your passion, and they realize, yeah, I really want to work with this person. And one of my new coaches, um, he told me, like, when you mentioned the program, it was like a yes for me. Because I saw you show me the examples of who you are right now, and I just want to know more about you. How are you doing it? So that was like, yeah, when you're your most authentic self, people are just gonna be put into your life, aligning to this person who you are.
Excellent. And I love hearing it. It's and let me clarify one thing. When I said we got a lot of coaches coming in, it wasn't to deter anybody from moving into the coaching arena. We need
Mhm.
more coaches
I
now
know.
than we have ever needed. We need coaches just like you, Kevin, because I promise you, there is a world out there screaming to hear from you that need people just like you to help them through some of the things that they're encountering at this point. There is a need in this world, and I can't emphasize it enough, for more coaches. So I applaud you for stepping into the arena, to being brave enough to step into an arena where there are a few coaches out there that could challenge you and also could give you a bad name. But your passion, your authentic self actually exudes through when you speak. So thank you for being who you are.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you so
Let's talk
much.
about let's talk about you talked about a coach. Did you have mentors through this process once you decided to become a coach? Did you have a mentor, a guide, or a muse, or anybody who was taking you through the process?
So I've been working with Coach Foundation coaches, and
Hmm.
they really helped me so much at the beginning to deal with imposter syndrome. And the coaches from this foundation were really vital for me, because I want to get really started and know with the people who are already in the business, shortcut everything, and just start doing that, because I was doing my IT job and I'm thinking, like, okay, I want to build a business. I don't want to do that from scratch and go A to C and D and D and hitting walls. So I'm like, okay, I want to do this with the people that already know what they're doing, the best in the field, and get the best coaching that I can. So I don't want to waste any more time. So I can spend more time doing what I love. So I realized coaching, when you're a coach, also is incredibly important, because they understand this journey, they understand the insecurities that might come up. And yeah, I realized, yeah, there's no way back for me anymore. There's absolutely no way back. This is who I am now. So I'm getting coaching at the moment as well. And every time there's a roadblock or I need support with something, I know that they will have my back. So it's also a more connected, intimate relationship that I have with my coaches. They really know me. I am truly myself with them. And I've found a lot of nurturing, healing, and it gives me so much more fuel. And I feel very connected to what I'm doing and also to them. So for me, coaching, it has been life changing. I didn't know, I had no idea coaching was a thing when I started looking for a career in Costa Rica, because this is not even taught at school. I thought my only possibilities was to be a guy in IT, because that's high paid, and my dad was also an engineer, and that was it. And then I come here and I realized, wow, there's actually a profession where you can help people, and this is so amazing. You can get paid. And I'm like, yeah, I actually would love to do this. And it's so good for my heart. Like, I've had these conversations with my coaches where I have so much energy. I feel so inspired. And then I can take this energy and continue doing something what I'm doing. And it's just the gift that continue giving.
Awesome. Awesome. So you got involved with Coach Foundation, you're in the accelerator program. What from just from a learning standpoint, how has accelerator taken your coaching program from when you first decided that you wanted to coach to where it is today?
So the the website, for example, the website, I realize is really on point. What it has to deliver, what it has to say to the client. And I work in websites. So I realized, yeah, this is really on point. It's saying exactly what it has to say. The colors is really my style. And everything is really well done. The website, everything. And I realized that also the modules are easy to follow. Everything is explained succinctly. And the videos that are shared are also reinforcing the concepts. So I realized it's easy to follow. And the launch section, preparation for podcasts, everything, this is great. I also, I'm looking at the moment to get more recordings with podcasters. And I'm also doing JVs for interviews about HIV awareness and speaking about the stigma, speaking about what it means to be undetectable. So I've learned a lot of techniques and really great learning about how to be more impactful and reach a broader audience.
Awesome. So you're in Accelerator and you now have this coaching program that takes you from A to Z, we'll say, and we do it linearly instead of hodgepodge where you jump around in it. And Accelerator brings you through that process. What is, from your coaching program, what is the result, or what do you hope to have your clients accomplish through the program?
Okay, so something that was really big for me was creating a high ticket program.
Okay.
Because charging by the hour was not scalable. So this awareness was really important for me because in my mind, I also have other programs that I want to create. So right now the high ticket program is like a foundational one, and that would help me to get my clients for a initial foundational transformation. But then when they stay in my ecosystem, I plan to do programs for overcoming alcoholism, going into tantra, man-to-man tantra. Then, for example, another one about spirituality in the gay community and how to spice up your sexual life, for example. So I realized, yeah, this formula of creating a program, really understanding your niche, getting yourself in the feed of your niche, and creating advertisement, social media from that has very helped me a lot to understand really what it means to really be credible and help others, my avatar clients, to feel listened to and that I'm creating a solution for their pain points.
Excellent. Excellent. If you could pick one piece of your coaching program that is just the pivotal point in your coaching program, what would it be?
Self-love. For me, self-love has been the massive transformation for everything that I've done. Because when I was at my lowest, I was really destroying myself. I didn't love every single part of myself. I was punishing myself for not being perfect. And of course, perfection doesn't exist. So I had to really overcome my perfectionism and really accept every single part of myself and forgive myself for everything because I lost so much. I was at a point where I was waking up in random guys' places and I had no idea how I got there. And got to a point where I was with the wrong guy at the wrong time and he ended up raping me. And that's how I got HIV. And I was at a really bad place where there was no self-love at all. So I have a lot of compassion for that Kevin. And it's this massive unconditional love and forgiveness that I've given myself over all this period of transformation that I'm here right now, really inspired and really looking forward to help people. So I would say love is at the core of everything that I'm doing now. Love and forgiveness.
You bring up that word forgiveness, and often it is overlooked in self-reflection. None of us are perfect. None of us have lived a life of perfection. And for any coach out there, it doesn't matter what we coach, leading people into a state of forgiveness, of self-forgiveness is so important. How do you take your clients through that process when they feel like, because the world condemns, and I'm not talking just gay men, I'm talking about everything that we do in this world. There are naysayers that condemn what we do as a whole. Even in the coaching arena, there's people who condemn coaches. So what would you say to somebody who's feeling condemned or has not been able to forgive themselves? How do you coach somebody through that?
So in my high ticket program, we go through start discovering what's there first, and eventually the really core fuel starts at the mid program. But if I could tell someone that want to get some nuggets about how to get there, it would be like really understanding that you are your own creator of your own life. Everything that you say, think, and do becomes your reality. Everything that you say, think, and do, the universe will reflect that back on you in any way. So when you don't believe you're worthy of love or you're not loved, everything that's going to happen around you is going to affect you. Everything can destroy you. So the moment that it really clicked for me, like, okay, I love myself so much and I'm worthy of love, eventually everything started to change. And from a place of unconditional love, if there's something or someone saying a nasty comment to me, I don't even sweat it anymore. It doesn't even go in my mind.
Good.
So it's really understanding that you are God. You're your own creator of your own reality, and forgiveness sets you free from everything, the past, the expectations of anything or anyone, and this process of forgiveness and compassion to myself, I feel like I've released everything. I forgive my dad, I forgive my brother, I forgive everyone. And every day I'm just wake up in a clean slate. And if something happens, I can really deal with that really fast and have a very like a really a strong practice to connect with yourself every day. I do meditation 20 minutes every morning, then I'm ready for the day. So this is like a nurturing part for myself. Okay, what is my body telling me to do today? What I should be focusing on? And when all these thoughts happen, I just realize, oh, I'm just the observer. I don't have to engage with this. I know what I'm focusing on right now, and that's it. So I would say if love practice feels really alien to you, just believe like what is the cost of staying like you are? I
Hmm.
mean, when you don't give yourself love, you know you're not gonna have a good day and everything is gonna spiral down from that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Often you hear the expression of what you put out, you get back. And when you can't, if you can't put out the fact that you are forgiven, how are other people supposed to interact with you? So, beautiful, beautiful words,
Yeah.
Kevin. Thank you. Uh,
Thank you.
so coaching program, you mentioned it was 12 weeks. How long did it take you to create a 12-week program, high ticket program?
So I actually realized I had so much content. So I had to really trim it down, trim it down, trim it down to a point that it was foundational. So I would say getting to the complete outline, descriptions, what I'm gonna provide in every week. That took me like I would say like 6 months, but it was because I was really on and off because I was also sick over the time with COVID. And but I would say all this that I need to be on point was 6 months, all of it from the beginning, from the coaching niche to really understanding my identity, my avatar client, creating the program that is foundational for my clients, and really understand that this is the foundational program that I needed for a period of 10 years, 15 years of my life where I was just kind of depressed in the background. I would say all this work was 6 months roundabout. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Not, and with any coaching program, it's always being massaged and changed just a little bit, tweaked, just so that it fits the current environment in which we live in, and your clients are going to give you feedback. So 6 months builds the foundation of your program, but then for any coaches out there, it's always being tweaked just a little bit based on feedback that you receive, results that are coming in. For you, same exact thing. You've got your first group coaching coming up in November. What's the plans on how you're going to receive the feedback? And is it going to be a full 12-week program, or are you going to give it a condensed version? Tell us a little bit about the program coming up.
So this would be like a mid ticket.
Okay.
I also would have a one-on-one high ticket program. So it would be like a full version, but also tailored to the client. But this group coaching call would be a mid ticket. I'm providing the teaching lessons every week, and then the group call of Q&A every week. And I'm gonna refine the content. So eventually, with the first round of feedback of the first 4 modules, I would adjust the content. I would create probably an optimized video. But I realized, yeah, I'm focusing on getting the first videos done, and then being on a state of refinement. You know, the beta test is really important because you don't know your blind spot when you're coaching sometimes in a group. So that's what I'm focusing on right now. And yeah, that I would say that would be it.
Okay. Yeah. And then as a coach, our clients are going to tell us exactly what is needed. And you'll have your one-offs,
Yes.
but as a whole, yes, you're absolutely right. The beta test is so important, and I applaud you for taking the time and using it for both their purpose, their growth, but also you mentioned earlier that you're going to be using it for testimonials and social media marketing. It's brilliant path to take in order to start to grow the business. So you've got your coaching program, you go through November, you get your feedback, you tweak the program. What's next for you with the coaching program? Are you going to stay online? Are you going to do speaking engagements? Where do you see yourself going with this path?
Okay, so I was in a Tantra festival in August, and from that festival I got a lot of leads. Some are gonna be in my network, some are jumping into the program, some are gonna jump into the next, like some kind of waiting list for the next one. So I think I would refine everything with the first one, and then in February I could start the second one with an improved version of the program. And I would charge 25% of the cost. So this one completely for free. I'm just gonna go full on it, do my best, give everything. And from all the results of the feedback and testimonials and everything, I would refine and give an improved version by February. So I also I'm looking forward to connecting more here in Berlin to the gay community. There's a lot of conscious sober spaces. There is a lot of tantra spaces where there is gay men who are more conscious, looking for more connection, for more growth. So sometimes I take the opportunity to connect with them, and I also speak about what I do from a place of I can help you with this. I don't ever do it like a salesy way. It's just like, hey, let's connect. I'm also doing coaching, so they're in my net, they're in my Instagram, they're in my Facebook, and I also I also have done public speaking courses to be more comfortable speaking in camera and speaking on the microphone. So I also look forward to get deeper here in the community and speak more about what I do, and hopefully, yes, have opportunities to reach a broader audience and speak about what I do to these workshops. So yeah, I'm actually open up to look for these opportunities here now that I'm more in Berlin.
Good, good, good. So we know that you're going to be reaching out. Now, if somebody wanted to reach you, how do they reach you?
Okay, so I'm in Instagram as Kevin period Martinez period Montero, and this is how I am in Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And my website is kevin-martinez.com. So I'm offering at the moment free discovery calls of 30 minutes. So we go through a simple, where are you at coaching call, and we can talk further steps if it's really a match. But my first discovery call is completely for free. So we can have an open conversation. Where are you at? What are your next plans? What are you struggling with that I can help you with? And if you're interested and it's a match, yeah, we can continue further.
Awesome. We've pretty much covered your entire coaching program, where you come from, why you're passionate about it. Any final words that you would want to share or convey to the viewing audience?
First of all, thank you so much for having me here. And I want to tell to everyone watching this, especially those coaches, you really got this. Is an attitude change that you have to make, and really trust that everything is aligned for the highest good. If this is your passion, it's in your heart, everything is gonna align, but you have to really trust yourself, believe in yourself, give yourself so much love, and embrace failing forward, not backwards, and continue showing up for yourself. And also think about all the contribution that you're gonna leave in the world. Think about the legacy that you want to leave behind. Like when you're in your deathbed, do you want to live a life that had so much passion and contribution, or do you just want to live the regular 9 to 5 job? If that's you, that's okay. But for me, it just wasn't. So think about honoring your future self. What is your future self telling you? And do it, because time is the one thing you don't get back. And it took me to almost die and losing my best friend to realize I just don't want to waste my life and my time anymore. Like I really came here for a reason, and I'm gonna do my best to give my best and do my best.
Awesome. Kevin Martinez, coaches gay men, and you've heard his story. You know what he's here for. Again, applaud you for being so open and vulnerable and for what you're doing, because the world is absolutely needing more men like you and more coaches in this world just like you. So thank you very much. Again, Kevin
Thank you so much.
Martinez, you've heard how to reach him, and reach on out. Take care.
Thank you. Bye bye.